What's up, everybody? It's Demo with Demo Vapes. Thanks so much for joining me tonight. Tonight, we're going to be taking a look at the Entheon RDA. Yeah, so this little guy's been getting a lot of press lately, and for good reason, frankly. It's a phenomenal flavor RDA, single coil, 22mm, with the option, as you see here, of a 24.5mm beauty ring. And I just have been, I've been having a great time with this. Single coil flavor RDAs are normally not the way that I like to vape, but that said, I've been really just loving this RDA. It delivers some of the most potent flavor that I've ever had in my entire life, to be honest with you. Good Lord. The build that I'm running in here tonight is a 0.15 ohm framed staple coil, and this guy has a 46 gauge outer wrap, so I'm experimenting with very, very thin wires right now, and it's making it ramp up just super, super fast, delivering really intense, crisp, clean flavor. The airflow is beautifully restrictive, very smooth. Alright, enough talking. We're gonna go down up close and I'll show you a little bit more about the Entheon RDA from Cyclone Mods. Alrighty, everybody. Here we have the Entheon RDA by Cyclone Mods. Here's the packaging it comes in. Here it's got a little tag showing some information, no pregnancy, no under 18, no 21, etc., etc. Alright, opening up this packaging, you will see we are greeted by a slew of baggies. These baggies individually house all of the individual drip tips, the RDA itself, and the spares. Pulling these guys out. And in those baggies, we have lots and lots of drip tips and adapters. It's really amazing. I've never seen anything quite like this in any other RDA. You get 6 drip tips and adapters. You get these two sort of wide-ish bore stainless steel and Delrin drip tips, although I do find this interesting. These are kind of designed to look like the same drip tip here, but if you'll notice, the inner bores are not the same, so I'm not sure exactly what happened with that, because this inner bore looks sort of like the inner bore of a 510 drip tip, while this is a much wider bore, so not exactly sure what happened with that, or if that's intentional or what. It is the way it is. Next to those guys, we have some regular old 510 drip tips right here. Standard 510 drip tips. You use the adapters they supply with this RDA, works really well. And then, of course, we have 2 510 drip tip adapters in both stainless steel and Delrin. Really phenomenal accessorization options here. The ability to use your own 510 drip tips and the ability to use either Delrin or regular stainless steel drip tips straight out of the gate. It is just really nice that they give you all of these options straight from the factory. As you can see here, we have a beauty ring. This takes the base of the RDA from a 22mm RDA to a 24.5mm RDA. And I think it makes it look kind of good, although I do have to say that I think it makes it look a little bit like the Stanley Cup when it's all put together. Yeah, that's a little bit Stanley Cup-like. Looks on this thing, you know, a lot of people think it doesn't look that good. I am kind of neutral on it. I don't think it's a great looking RDA, and I don't think it's a terrible looking RDA. In this bag, we have a lot of extra O-rings, we have an extra clamp, 2 extra post screws, and the squonk pin. Sadly, this atomizer does not come with any sort of tool to install your squonk pin, so if you want to squonk with it, you better have an Allen key of the right size. And here we have the Entheon RDA. I took this drip tip out to show you the drip tips in that last segment, but this drip tip does come on the RDA. This is a 22mm RDA with a 24.5mm beauty ring, should you like to run this on a mod that may look better with a 24 or 25mm RDA on top. Starting from the bottom, we have Cyclone written here, a text that says EPR1 on one side, 2017 on the other side, Entheon down here, and a little guy looking kind of thing here. Not sure exactly what that is. I guess that's their sort of Cyclone Dude logo. Nice protruding 510 pin. I'd have no qualms about running this on a hybrid whatsoever. Moving along, we've got 2 airflow cutouts right here, one on this side, one on the other side. Now I'm gonna go ahead and put it on a mod. As you can see, the airflow adjusts just by twisting. Whatever happens to one side happens to the other. This drip tip fits right in here. Snug fit. Now, this drip tip is a proprietary size, sadly. I would have liked to have seen a goon-sized hole, but we've ended up with sort of a proprietary system here, so kind of a bummer. I think they could have done it with a goon, but it is what it is. This RDA is not necessarily meant to have that wide open goon-style airflow anyway, so not going to give it too big a con for that. I really personally don't think that goon sizing is totally required these days, but at the end of the day, it will definitely be a con for a lot of you guys, so I will give it that. Inside of the barrel, we have a slight conical shape going on there. Now, you'll notice when you're using the stock drip tip provided, the stock drip tip kind of keeps that conical shape going, so it kind of just ends up being a funnel right into your mouth. And finally, we're onto the deck section here. Now, if you've ever used a Hadley, or own a Hadley, or know someone who owns a Hadley, or watched a video about a Hadley, or really have anything to do with a Hadley at all, you'll know that this deck is absolutely 100% very similar, not quite the same, but pretty much the same as the Hadley. We've got these same clamps right here. They open on one side and then this one opens on the other. You pull these screws out. There have been some reviewers that have been saying that this is reversible, that you can reverse these clamps around to go the other direction. I don't personally agree with that. I don't think that they're reversible. They have these little tabs right here to go into the cutouts on the clamps, so I really don't think that those are reversible. But as you can see, we've got a nice deep juice well, and if you can see down there at the bottom, we've got a little hole for squonking. Comes out on that side and on the other, so that's really nice. Directs your liquid right to where it needs to go. Now, I think the biggest innovation on this though is the airflow. You'll see we have this interesting sort of design where the airflow actually, if you put the barrel up next to it on this side, the airflow actually comes in to this little top section up here and then kind of disperses and goes down through this one big channel that ultimately splits into two holes on either side. It's a really ingenious way to keep this very similar airflow to the Hadley, but not have quite the same leaking concerns as the Hadley did. Your juice has to get up a lot higher to get into that airflow, and then once it's in those airflows, it then has to travel into the airflow and then up and out. So I have not had any issues with this over dripping or over squonking or over anything. I've never had any leaking from this at all, and that's pretty impressive. Usually most atomizers I get to leak one way or another, whether it's over dripping or over squonking or something like that, and I've not had any leaking on this whatsoever. So yeah guys, that's pretty much about it. Oh, forgot to mention one thing. This comes with a squonk pin, and honestly, this is an RDA that is meant to be squonked. Tonight, I am not going to be running it in squonk mode just purely because I didn't have a squonk bottle that was clean, and I didn't really want to go through the whole song and dance of cleaning a squonk bottle to put a juice into that squonk bottle. So we're just going to be doing it in dripper mode tonight, but it really is meant to be squonked, and, you know, if you decide not to squonk it, no big deal, but it really shines in squonk mode. Anyway, all right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and build this and wick this, and we'll get back up to the top view, and I'm going to vape it for you guys. I'll see you there.
Not really sure, but my brain tells me I've been here before. Don't want to draw any attention to all the crazy things that I shouldn't mention. Not really sure, but it feels like my feet are glued to the floor. Don't wanna open up my mouth, cause I'm afraid of what's gonna come out. Life is but a dream. This can't be happening. Wake up, scream. I'm in a twisted reality. Twisted. I'm not sure who's the one making the decisions. Wake up, scream. I'm in a twisted reality.
All right, everybody, and that was the Entheon RDA by Cyclone Mods. Now, as I said earlier in the up top section, this RDA has been absolutely phenomenal. I think it's a truly tremendous package. It delivers a really, really smooth, very restrictive lung hit that delivers just the most intense flavor. The vape I'm getting off of this is warm, dense, saturated. It's just incredible. The airflow design on this is an ingenious way to prevent leaking. They've tried to kind of channel the vibes of the Hadley while modernizing it enough to address the concerns about the leaking. Everyone who's owned a Hadley knows that if you over squonk or over drip just a little bit too much, it's very prone to leaking. And I think that they really accomplished a whole lot by just completely revamping the airflow and giving you that nice, similar, very smooth hit, but just making it extra leak proof. Sometimes though, I have noticed that if a little bit of juice gets up into those channels, you do have to give it a fairly hard, quick toot to kind of suck out all the juice in there. Otherwise, you'll tend to get sort of a weird slurping, maybe not slurping is probably not the right word, but a weird sucking sound that sounds like you're sort of breathing through something. So it's really impossible for me to show you on camera and on the microphone. So you're just gonna have to trust me that sometimes that happens, but it's not really a huge deal. It's pretty easy to build and wick. The deck doesn't really house builds that are too big. The kind of coils that I make, really, I have to use 4 wrap coils. I can't really go up to 5 wraps. They just don't really fit. So take that with a grain of salt. The coils you build might be a little bit different. I find that 3mm coils, big wide aliens and stuff like that at 4 wraps do really well in this, and they just deliver an intense saturated vape. Again, I can't stop going on and on about this because it is just phenomenal. Oh, so good. Tonight, I'm vaping on this Poet Sweet Black Tea again. Just a very sublime juice, and it really shines in an atomizer like this. You can get just that really delicate flavor profile out of it from this kind of hit, and God, it's just great. Honestly, as far as cons go, I really haven't found too many issues with this. Some might find issue with the fact that it's not goon-sized given the extremely wide diameter of the top cap. A lot of people are gonna go in the comments and say, it could have been goon-sized. And while I understand that, I don't think that this atomizer is really necessarily about that kind of vaping. Really, it's meant for a smaller, tighter draw, and so with these atomizers, you're gonna find things like 510 drip tips a lot, and these sort of proprietary systems that allow for a very restrictive hit. And honestly, the only other thing that I can find wrong with this is, I don't know, I'm not super digging the looks, but it's not, at the same time, I don't find it super ugly, and obviously looks are completely subjective, but I just don't find myself digging it too much. You know, you decide whether that's right for you. If you want to vape on the Stanley Cup, you know, go for it. I absolutely would support you 100%. Well, guys, that really kind of brings us to the conclusion. I honestly don't have a whole lot more to say about this. I've kind of rambled on about how much I love it, and so obviously, if you've been watching up to this point, you're gonna know how I'm about to answer this question. Would I go out and buy this again? Yes, absolutely. It is more than worth the price tag. If you are the kind of vapor who wants just intense flavor and clouds may not be too much of a priority for you, this thing is a must-have. Now, I did pick up this atomizer from Vape Happy for $87.50, so understand it's very expensive. It's definitely in that high-end category, but again, that said, if you don't mind spending that kind of money and you want just intense, amazing flavor, very easy build, very easy wick, and just probably one of the best vapes I've ever had since I've started vaping, this is for you. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please take a moment to like, comment, and subscribe down below. It really helps me out. If you didn't like this video, please comment down below and let me know what I could do better. Anyway, that's about it, guys. That's all I got for you. Demo out. Oh, mother.